Treehouse. A jungle where the land is flooded every month. Mosquitoes carry deadly diseases. You wake up to enemy tribes attacking you. Staying on the ground is a death sentence. The Korowai tribe in Papua, Indonesia, looked up and kept looking. They build their homes up to 130 feet in the air. That's taller than a 13-story building. Getting there is the first challenge. Then you have to build while hanging from branches. Platforms are tied between massive limbs using vine rope. Floors are made of split palm. Walls and roofs are woven leaves. Every piece is lifted by hand. In 2000, a National Geographic photographer visited and said his hands went numb just looking down. The Korowai cross the platforms with ease, like sidewalks. Some houses hold 12 people. Cooking fires sit on clay bases so the floors don't burn. Smoke escapes through gaps in the roof. Korowai children learn to walk at these heights very young. They aren't afraid of falling. They are at home here. And somehow, accidents are rare. They've lived above the ground all their lives. Igloo. Imagine being stranded in the Arctic, minus 40 degrees. No trees, no caves, just ice and snow everywhere. You have hours before your body shuts down. 4,000 years ago, the Inuit faced this and solved it. They built a house from the very thing trying to kill them, snow. They cut blocks so hard they were almost like wood, stacking them in an upward spiral. You build from the inside, sheltered from the wind the whole time. In about an hour, a dome surrounds you. And here's the shocking part. Inside, your body heat alone can make it 60 degrees warmer than outside. Cold air sinks into the entrance tunnel and stays there. Warm air rises to the sleeping platform. A perfect temperature trap. As people live inside, the walls melt slightly. When they leave, it freezes solid again. The more it's used, the stronger it becomes. Snow traps air. Air traps heat. Nature made the insulation. The Inuit turned it into survival. Yurt. Genghis Khan conquers cities with massive stone palaces and lives in none of them. He rules the largest empire in history from a tent. The yurt was invented thousands of years earlier. Collapsible wooden lattice walls expand into a perfect circle. Roof poles rise to a central wooden wheel. Thick sheep wool, felt, sometimes 8 layers deep, wraps the frame. Ropes hold everything tight against brutal winds. Inside, it's warm, painted furniture, carpets, a stove in the center. Setup takes hours, not months. Some royal yurts were so massive they sat on carts pulled by 22 oxen. Why choose a tent over a palace? Because a palace can't move. The yurt followed the empire wherever it went. Teepee. Buffalo herds traveled hundreds of miles. If you couldn't follow them, you didn't eat. If you didn't eat, you died. The Lakota and Cheyenne needed a home that moved. Long poles formed a cone. Buffalo hides were sewn into one massive cover. In about 30 minutes, a family had a house. A fire burned in the center. Smoke escaped through adjustable flaps while heat stayed inside. Rain and snow slid off the sloping walls. In winter, an inner lining trapped warmth. In summer, the base lifted to let cool air flow in. Even the door mattered. It always faced east, away from the strongest winds. When the buffalo moved, the house collapsed. The same poles became a sled. One structure, two purposes. A design so perfect, it lasted over 500 years. Stilt house. The water rises 10 feet in hours. Houses on the ground disappear. Everything you have is lost. Thousands of years ago, people in Southeast Asia made a simple choice. Don't fight the water. Rise above it. Wooden poles were planted deep into the ground, houses built on top. When floods came, families stayed dry. Air flowed underneath, cooling the house. Snakes and insects stayed below. Pull up the ladder at night, and you were safe. In places like Inle Lake in Myanmar, entire communities live above water. Boats replace roads. Children learn to swim before they can walk. It's not just a house, it's a way of life. Adobe house. The American Southwest. Scorching heat. No trees, no stone, just earth and sun hot enough to kill you. 8,000 years ago, someone made a discovery. Mix mud with straw, pour it into molds, let the sun bake it. 2 weeks later, bricks. Stack them into walls 2 meters thick. During the day, the walls absorb heat. By night, they release it back inside. The result: Cool days, warm nights, no electricity, no machines, just physics. The Taos Pueblo has stood for over 1,000 years. The same mud bricks, still working. Modern homes need air conditioning. These people solved climate control long before we invented it. Cave dwelling, 40,000 years ago. Ice Age winters, massive predators, no real shelter. Survival was fragile. Then humans found caves. Thick stone walls blocked wind and rain. Cool in summer, warm in winter. Predators couldn't reach you at night. Shelter without building anything. Families gathered around fires, tools stayed dry, life became safer, some caves became something more. At Lascaux, paintings made 17,000 years ago were perfectly preserved when discovered in 1940, but caves were rare. The best ones filled quickly. Fights over territory turned deadly. That shortage forced change. If nature couldn't provide shelter everywhere, humans had to build their own. The Longhouse. Imagine living with 60 relatives, not nearby, under the same roof. The Iroquois built longhouses over 200 feet long, arched frames covered in bark. A central corridor ran the length, fires every 20 feet, shared by families. Sleeping platforms lined the walls, storage filled the rafters. Each longhouse belonged to a clan. Grandparents taught children daily, skills passed down through living together. When Europeans first saw them, they couldn't believe entire communities lived under one roof. A mud hut. Mud huts seem simple. They aren't. In Africa, families mix mud with cow dung for strength and waterproofing. Thick thatched roofs insulate from heat. Round walls let wind slide past instead of hitting corners. Inside, temperatures stay cooler than outside. And then there's the art. The ndebele. Ndebele paint bold geometric patterns. Each design tells a story, history, identity, family, pride. Once a year, fresh mud is applied. Women gather, sing, talk, and work together. Maintenance becomes community. These houses don't just shelter life. They reflect it.